my record button over here. There seems to be some issues. Okay, it is 9 a.m. sharp. We are going to start the session. Now, before I start the session, just a little bit of a recap. Today's session is basically a little bit more advanced in comparison with the normal APEL session that I normally have. In the normal APEL session or normal APEL briefing, I go into a bit much more detail about what APEL is and the differences between APEL A, C, and Q, and how the whole process of registrations are to be done and so on. Whereas for today, as you saw in the invite itself, it is for moderators, assessors, and also advisors. Okay, so this is something very different, and it also gives a different perspective of what APEL is to these particular roles. Now, when you look at APEL, Accreditation of Prior Experiential Learning, and how it is held in individual institutions like what we are over here, the advisor, assessor, and moderator plays very, very key roles. Okay, they are the one that will give advice to the candidate. They are the one that will come up with the assessment method for the candidate. They are the one that will moderate the quality of achievement of that candidate itself for that candidate to be allowed in a way the credits earned by APEL. All right. So in today's session, that is what I'm going to talk about. What are the roles of this individual? Of course, to start it out, I will actually touch a little bit in general about what APEL C is, and us being an APEL C center, what are our limitations and what are our challenges that we face. So it gives you a better idea about how these things are to go, these roles itself. Now, the general importance of this is something which, as we go, as we proceed, especially now it is already end of 2023, 2024, 25, and so on. I believe many of your head of schools would have told you the trajectory that UOW Malaysia is heading. We are a traditional teaching organization. However, being a traditional teaching organization in an environment that is so fluid and no more traditional is not possible. Okay. Number one, the number of flow-through students that we have are also dwindling. All right. Numbers are going down. International students have many more options, and the local players itself are getting more aggressive in cost cutting. And by them doing cost cutting, they are also giving very, very low selling prices and makes their product very attractive. So the whole market itself for tertiary education is somewhat different in comparison of when it was 15, 20 years ago. Not even 15, 20 years, like 5 years ago. Okay, so that is why there is quite a bit of emphasis on looking at a different market. Now, looking at a different market, one would need to understand that there are many different markets. There are the market of working adults. There is that market of those without entry qualifications, and there is also the market of students who maybe have financial issues. So there are many different markets over there. All right, that are very different from our traditional after SPM market. So what we have decided is, being an institution of what we are, we want to focus on certain key elements or key areas that we can, in a way, reap the benefits. So number one, we are going to focus on micro-credentials and open distance learning programs. As many of you would have known, we already have our Knowledge Hub, which is a micro-credential site itself. We also have ODL programs, and I believe the champion for ODL programs will be the business school. They have currently submitted already 2, which are the MBA and also the diploma. More to come. And based on what our discussion with the other heads of schools, certain other schools are also looking at converting or submitting their program into ODL. Now, by doing so, it opens a new market for us, not the traditional itself. And this is very critical for us to survive. So another one that actually complements all of this, micro-credentials and ODL and so on, is APEL. Okay, APEL itself. So having APEL APEL is not a program, ladies and gentlemen. It is a process. It is something that the students can go through for recognition. So having APEL itself will benefit. Hold on. Having APEL itself will benefit this new market, especially those who are working individuals. There are many working individuals who already have many years of working experience. Now they want to study. So for them, the limitation that they have is time. Time can be a key limitation that they have. All right, because to spend 3 years for a degree, 1 or 2 years for a master's on a full-time basis, and if it is part-time, you add 50% to even double that duration, is something that many of them cannot spare. So that is why APEL today is something very, very critical. Now, the APEL Center, which is over here, myself, Hazim, we are the APEL Center itself. In the past 18 months, have been getting a lot of inquiries. I'm just telling you all, a lot of inquiries from working individuals. Okay, so in the past 18 months, more so from 12 months and until today, we have been getting a lot of inquiries about APEL and about what these individuals who are working, what can they do with us? All right, what can they do with us? So what we feel is there is this general demand for students to pursue their tertiary education with experience, and that is where APEL actually comes in. All right, so what we are going to do is I'm just going to brief you what APEL is, the roles of the advisor, assessor, and moderator. And now you know a little bit more about the importance of this and how it is supposed to complement whatever that we have already been offering. All right. Now, at any time that if you have any questions, please feel free to write in the chat and I will answer you as we go along. Okay. So basically, when we talk about APEL itself, accreditation of prior experiential learning, if you just break it down, this is to accredit, is to recognize a person's experiential learning. Experiential learning can come in many different forms. For some of us, it is through observation. For some of us, it is through practice. For some of us, it is through being brought down from different generations and so on. When we talk about experiential learning, it is not formal learning. All right, experiential learning is not formal learning. Okay, so as I go on a little bit more, you will get a clearer picture of what this experiential learning is. I just want to also put this in is all of us daily, we go through experiential learning. How? Sometimes we observe and then we see things happening. And then from there, we learn to not to do something that if you see it had a negative impact to another individual. That is experiential learning in the most fundamental form. One key element of a good example of what experiential learning is also children. Children goes through stages of experiential learning. When a child is born, they go through, they observe, they learn, they see. That is experiential learning already. Now, in our normal context in Malaysia, when we look at education per se, formal education follows what we have under the MQF, Malaysian's Qualifications Framework. All right. Currently, in its version 2, you will see that in Malaysia, formal learning follows this very rigid structure. And this rigid structure is what you call levels. Level 1, 2, and 3, certificate. Level 4, diploma. 5, higher diploma. 6, degree. 7, masters. And 8, PhD. And all of these very, very clearly stipulates what are the credit requirements, the minimum credit requirements to attain a particular qualification. Correct? Huh? That is formal learning. A diploma will be 90. A degree will be 120 at the minimum. You can go more than that. So if you follow the traditional formal style, it is very easy. For you to do a diploma, you need what is the entry requirements, then you go in for a diploma. So a diploma is 3 SPM credits, of course, with the pass of Bahasa Malaysia and history, simple as that. Of course, certain programs may have 5, and that is dictated by your individual program. For a degree, it is A levels, STPM, and whatnot. So it's very, very prescribed. All right. So that is very prescribed. So when you talk about APEL, it is not so prescriptive in that way and not so descriptive in a manner that it doesn't really state, oh, you have read 2 books, that means you can get credit. No. But what it does, it comes out with a mechanism to recognize a person's experience and their own learning, and then to equate that to a particular CLO or a particular course that that person is applying for. So the mechanism inside here is something that it is not simple. Just to tell you, it is not simple. It requires experts in the field to be able to evaluate an individual for them to say that this individual, even though did not go through formal education, however, they have demonstrated the learning outcomes of this particular course. Thus, this individual will get credit transfer from that particular course. So to be able to dictate or to able to prescribe that itself requires moderators, assessors, and advisors. These are the key individuals that will be able to dictate, will be able to state, will be able to evaluate the individual in that particular course itself. So in today's session, that is what I'm going to cover, the roles of these 3 key elements over there. So that is what we are going to speak upon. So APEL in general, as I already explained to you already, there are A, C, and Q. I'm not going to touch so much on A and Q. However, I'm just going to speak a little bit over here. Now, I think my next slide here will be better. Now, types of APEL. So A stands for assess. APEL A stands for assess. Assess means to enter a particular program. Enter. Let's say I only have SPM. I want to do degree. I got SPM. I got 5 credits in SPM. I want to immediately do a degree. Can or not? Come on, guys. Put an answer. Can or not? SPM want to do degree. Boleh ke tak? I got 5 credits in SPM. If you look at Malaysian regulation or our institutional regulation, is it possible? Come on, guys. Cannot. Very good. Of course, cannot. No, cannot. Malaysia, straightforward. Cannot. Why? We follow MQF, ma. We follow MQF. Our MQF, like I stated earlier on, is very prescribed. This is what you cannot, this is what you can do. Now, however, APEL allows if I meet certain criteria. That means I am above X number of years, maybe I'm 22 and above, and I have working experience, and I go through a process of APEL A. I go through a process. So what is that process? That process will require me at different levels to come up with a portfolio, to do a test, to go for an interview, and so on. Okay. So you take note. So that is what is APEL A. APEL A allows me to do that. So I go through the APEL A process. I pass, then I can go to the institution that I want to learn, and I can start my study there. Okay. So now take me. I got SPM. I do my APEL A. I pay for the APEL A. I do my test, everything. I sudah lulus. Once I lulus, they give me certificate. I bring that certificate to UOW. I sign up. So when I sign up, A and B will say, hey, Mr. Lau, you only got you only got SPM. Why you say you can do degree? Then I prove, yes, I got SPM. I can do degree because I took my APEL A. This is my cert to prove. So A and B can take that cert, can use it as entry requirement for the program. Okay, now, so that is APEL A. So I give you another example. For you to do masters, you need a degree. But if you only have a diploma, which a lot of working people only got diploma, but they want to do masters, MBA. So the entry requirement is you need to be minimum 30 years old. All right, 30 years old and working experience. Then only you can apply for APEL A. All right. So there are many people. This is our biggest market. a lot of working people only got diploma, but want to do masters. Okay, so they go for APEL A. So when they go for APEL A, they go through the test, they go through the interview, everything. Once they pass, then they can do the masters. Okay, PhD also can. All right, so that is it. Now, any questions so far? APEL A. All right, yeah. Need to sit for the test only, no need to attend classes in APEL. No, there's no classes in APEL A, but it depends on what level. Now, work experience duration depending on tahap. So if you want to enter to degree, you want to enter to masters, you want to enter to PhD, all different. So there is different kinds of work experience duration. Where are all this information? All of these are in the MQA website. APEL is actually officially under the ministry, okay, MQA. So basically, there is the guideline inside to tell very clearly what are the requirements for them to take. Okay. Now, APEL A can only be done certain places. Now, this take note. We, UOW Malaysia, cannot do, tak boleh do APEL A. We are not an APEL A center. Who is the APEL A center? APEL A center need to check on the website. All right. So any candidate that comes to us, we tell them, you need to check with the website because the main registration is through MQA website. So you can actually do APEL A with MQA itself. Okay, understand? Now, what MQA did in the past few years is they allowed certain institution to do APEL A. Okay, now, so this is what it is. So the number of institutions there grow as time goes on because certain institutions apply to be APEL A center. We did not. Okay, now, why? Later we talk about that. Certain institution, after a few times, they say they don't want, so they came out. All right, so that is the APEL A list. Now, MQA, Open University, Wawasan, most of the open universities are APEL A centers. There are also certain non-open universities that are also APEL A center. One of our academic partners is, this is UPNM, University Pertahanan Nasional Malaysia. They are our academic partners. We work together on many things. They are an APEL A center. All right, they are an APEL A center. All right, so what happens is this. Sometimes when we get inquiries, we tell the student, okay, student, for you, you want APEL A. So you need to apply. This is the website because we actually can't do. So you have the website. Look already. However, we can also suggest you can apply to UPNM because they are a partner of ours. Then they can go to UPNM and do APEL A with them. With the cert from UPNM, they can join us in our program. Okay, they can. So that cert allows them to join different institutions. So that is APEL A. All right. No. Okay. Stella asked on APEL A. Some candidates have working experience, but many not good at written tests. Is there any other form of assessment other than written tests? No. APEL A is very prescribed. You need to do this. There is always, depending on level. If a person wants to go into a master's level, there are 3 things they need to do. 1, portfolio to show a person's working experience. 2 is a general paper. A general paper is, how would you say, in university, we have this thing called general paper. That means in that test itself, got mathematics, got sejarah, got Bahasa Malaysia, everything everything to say what is your level, whether you are able to go into a level 7. And then there's going to be an interview. They interview you. Okay, so this is it. Whereas if you are looking at for entry into degree, then it is only a test and portfolio, got no interview. If you are looking at PhD level also can. So under PhD level, then the assessments are also different. Not only will they require an interview, they also require you to send a proposal. What is your proposal for your research? See, so it is different for different levels. This one cannot run away one. It's not for us to say, oh, this fellow BM cannot, not very good, cannot write. Can we don't do that? No, no, no. APEL A cannot. APEL A is totally no. All right. So APEL A, it is not by us. UOW is not an APEL A center. UOW is only a APEL C center. Okay, now I'm going to talk about APEL C now. What is APEL C? APEL C is credit transfer. CT, credit transfer. It means a student who already joined us in our program, okay, they look at the subjects. And with all the subjects that they see, they look at one particular subject inside there, and they say that, hey, I have done this before already, or I've been working on in this field for many years. Can I apply for credit transfer? Okay, I give you an example. Let's say myself, I am a human resource director in a company. All right, I got now I joined an MBA program, but I'm a human resource director many years already. And in that MBA program, there is this subject called human resource or recruitment, something like that. Okay, so I've been doing it for many years. I am already in a way competent in human resource recruitment. Then what I can do is I can apply for APEL C. I can apply for APEL C. So once I apply, I go through a process, a very stringent process that will involve the assessor, advisor, moderator, who will evaluate me, blah, blah, blah. There is going to be payment involved. All of this I'm going to speak later. And if I achieve competency, I'm proof that I'm competent in this, I can get credit transfer for that particular subject. Credit transfer means, you know lah, I no need to study and I get the credits. So if human resources or recruitment course is 4 credit, I apply for APEL C and I pass, that 4 credit is credit transfer, not exemption. Exemption means you need to replace the credit. This is totally credit transfer. No need to take the subject, no need to go for class, no need to do assessment, no need to do exam for that class, done already. So I don't need to do anything at all. It's credit transfer. Okay, that is APEL C. We, UOW Malaysia KDU, University College, is an APEL C center. That means every program under our umbrella in UOW Malaysia Selangor University College can go through APEL C. Okay, can apply for APEL C. I will go into a little bit more details. And then finally, we have APEL Q. APEL Q is the newest one that only recently been launched in the past 24 months. It is by qualification. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that because this is something we are not an APEL Q center, and there are only certain centers that are just starting up on APEL Q. APEL Q is qualification, means if a person can demonstrate competency of that qualification, that whole program itself, this person can apply for APEL Q, do a very stringent assessment that will take months or even years, and if pass, can attain that qualification without needing to go for classes. Yes, that is called APEL Q. Okay, very high level, very stringent. Okay, which kinds of discipline have been very popular for APEL Q in Malaysia? Early childhood education. Early childhood education in Malaysia, a lot of institutions who are doing early childhood education have applied for APEL Q. The reason is because in Malaysia, a lot of early childhood teachers, they have many years teaching. However, they don't have qualification. That was how early childhood education in its infancy 20, 30 years ago started. People joined after SRP. SRP is now called PMR. Previously, after SRP Form 3, some of them joined. After SPM, they joined. So they started teaching early childhood. All right, become kindergarten teachers, become nursery teachers. And from there, they climb on their career. But they got no qualification. All right, and some of them, are already at 50, 60 years old, or maybe in the late 40s. So that is why for them, APEL Q is suitable for them. Does it mean that all of them will guarantee pass? No, because they need to do assessment, they need to demonstrate PLOs, all the program learning outcome. And it would require reports, observation, supervisory reports, and so on. So there are many, many different elements that I know because I did quite a bit of reading and spoke to people about it itself. And the whole process is not 1 or 2 months. It can be even a year or more than that. And it is a very stringent process. Okay, so that's APEL Q. All right, we don't have it. For us, it's only APEL C. All right, guys. Okay, I will continue. Now, so when we talk about accreditation of prior experiential learning, what is prior learning? What is prior learning? We always ask ourselves. So prior learning is learning that we attained before. Okay, so we have the formal learning. Formal learning is our diploma, it's our SPM, STPM, diploma, A levels, degree, masters, PhD, all of this. These are called formal learning. Then we have informal learning. So we got formal learning, then we got informal learning. Now, what is informal learning? Informal learning refers to the knowledge and skills acquired by the applicant based on his or her self-effort. It is usually incidental or unintentional. It's unintentional. We learn not because we want to learn, but because we may enjoy it. Sources of informal learning are work and life experiences, as well as other activities such as reading, community work, hobbies, and so on. For me, let's say I like to bake. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube channels about baking, pastry. All right. And once I watch the videos, I try it on my own. I try. All right. Now, do I get a cert? No, I don't. But I enjoy doing it because that is what I call my hobby. And that is informal learning. A lot of us are doing it, but we don't record it, nor are we cautiously understand that that is learning itself. But it is learning. That is why earlier on when I started my session, I was telling you about babies, how babies observe. That is informal learning. In a way, very informal itself. And then we also have this thing called non-formal. Non-formal refers to learning that is intentional, which may be conducted in a structured and organized environment. This form of learning may not necessarily lead to a formal certificate. Not necessarily to a formal certificate, but it could lead to a certificate. Example, Coursera. Micro-credentials given by other institutions. You are interested in, let's say, share trading. All right. So you take a Coursera course in financial management and how to trade shares. All right. And unit trusts and so on. Because you enjoy it, you learn. All right. So that is called non-formal learning. You may get a cert, you may not get a cert. Okay. So when we talk about accreditation of prior experiential learning, so it includes all of this: formal, informal, and non-formal. So this is where the beauty comes in. Formal, very easy. If I'm to ask you a question now, guys. A student from a diploma want to do a degree. What is the maximum credit transfer we can give? What is the peratus? Diploma, want to do degree, peratus credit transfer. How much can we give? So this is recognition now. Come on, guys. Miss G, tahu Miss Ko? You all should know, right? Diploma. This person got diploma. Now proceed flow through to do a degree. What is the peratus of credit transfer? Dr. Chiang? Come on, guys. This one very important. Very good. Siti, very good. 30%. So easy. So now, flow through 30% lah. Formal learning 30% lah. We already know mah, right? Not. So if it is doing a degree 120 credits, maximum 30% means 36 credits. 36. Senang saja. Okay, now. So APEL allows for not only formal learning, but informal and non-formal. So this is where I want to correct, I want to explain to you all. First of all, okay, wait. Sorry, ini mouse lari sikit. Okay. Okay. Now, you know 30%. So this is what it is lah. So who implement APEL us? What is the assessment principle? Students' competency versus TLO, and maximum credit is 30%. Now, that is what we always think, 30%. Very good. But recently, there was a circular that came out. Remember or not? All right. Recently, there was a circular that came out about formal learning. Who can, yes, very good. Who can tell me about what is the peratus now? What is the peratus now? Recently pun 2 tahun lah, 2-3 tahun already, a circular came out, you know. So now it's no more 30%, you know. Now the government, very good, Sue, 50%. Now it's 50%. However, the 50% is not across the board. It's 30% C's and above, 20% B's and above. So it is 50%. But the decision to give depends on the institution and depends on the school. So computing school or hospitality school may say, don't want, we only maintain 30. It's up to you. This is penuh 50. Okay, it's up to you. Very good. You guys are on track. Okay, you guys are on track on that. All right. So formal learning is actually 50%. Okay. Now, so this is important. For credit transfer, formal learning is 50%. As what I stated earlier on, grade C and above 30, B and above 20. Now, non-formal and informal learning by APEL C, remember the one that you do from Coursera and the one that you learn from YouTube, is also 30%. 30%, you know, 30%. That's a lot, huh? That's 36 credits. However, there is a law, there is a rule in Malaysia. Formal plus non-formal and informal, which is APEL C, must be maximum 60. So it is not 50 campur 30. It is, if you add in together, a person does maximum, it is only going to be 60. So if the institution give 50 formal learning maximum, 50 maximum, then if this person apply for APEL C, it is only going to be 10. 10. Okay, so if this person apply for APEL C 30, then the formal learning maximum is only going to be 30. Because however it is, when you add both formal and non-formal, the maximum is 60%. It is not 80. That is the regulation. So ladies and gentlemen, look at how attractive APEL is now. Visualize this again. A diploma holder just completed his diploma in hospitality in the year 2000. Go and work in the hotel. Now he is the resident manager. Resident manager means number 2 man of the whole hotel itself. But only got diploma. So let's say he wants to do his degree. Let's say he wants to do his degree. So now he wants to do his degree. So from diploma to degree, not considering the validity of his qualification, first part, formal learning, he will get 50%. Second part, he is now the resident manager, the number 2 man in the hotel. He can apply for 30%. So, but total is 60%. So look at this. When he wants to do his degree of 120 credits, I'm going to use my calculator here, minus 60%. Minus, let's say he get full. Formal credit transfer 30, in a non-APEL another 30, he only need to do 48 credits for his degree. Look at how beautiful that is. 48 credits. That is why APEL is attractive. Okay, that is why it is attractive. Okay, 48 credits. Now, what is the duration of 48 credits? At least a year. It's going to be a year plus, but it's still much shorter than a full degree itself. Okay, you get it, guys? So this is how it is. Now, there are some students who maybe don't even get anything for formal learning. Zero. No issue, man. When you do credit transfer, a person with diploma to degree may get 0 credit transfer. No issue. But working experience, he still can apply for this 30%. So it's still not bad. Still can get 36 credits off. You get it, huh? Now, so far, we already got 3 students with us. All 3 graduated. 2 degree, 1 master. None of them got full 30%, even though they have worked many years in the industry. None of them got full 30%. 25, 26, 22, 23, and so on. Okay? Now, you may ask, Gabe, why? Why never give full? I gave you the example. I may be the resident manager in the hotel. All right? I have many years. I'm the second man in the 5-star hotel in Mandarin Oriental, next to the general manager. When I look into the syllabus, all right, now, one of it is called beverage management. I may know about beverage management, a few things, but I do not know most of the things. So I cannot get I cannot meet all the CLOs also. Course learning outcome of beverage management, for example. So I won't apply because I won't get it. And the advisor will tell me, Mr. Lau, I know you are the number 2 man in a 5-star hotel, but beverage management, out of the 4 CLO, 2 only you're quite good. The other 2, you are not ready. Okay? Which is true. Which is true. Our experience versus the literature itself may be very different. You get it, guys? So it doesn't mean this person is a high flyer, guarantee 30%. Sometimes that high flyer is only doing one thing. Okay, one particular area. It could be certain industry. So very, very good in certain thing, but others not very good. He knows, but not very good. Cannot apply law because you need to demonstrate course learning outcome of individual subject. You get this, guys? Okay, so that is why. So they give 30% maximum. Okay, good. So when we look into, so that is what the credit transfer is. Any questions so far? Any questions on this? So we are going to talk about APEL-C because that is us, our center itself. I'm going to talk through the process now. Okay, so APEL-C center. Okay, now next. So implementation policy of APEL-C, how do we implement? Okay, so what a general policy award of credit implementation process. Now, APEL-C is open for all Malaysia and international students. So I want to put all students over here, all Malaysia and international, regardless where they are from. So if we must be a registered higher, that the student must be registered with us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's say a student come in during education fair. All right, this person is a general manager coming education fair, and he say, "Hey, I heard you're at APEL-C center. I'm a general manager. Can I apply for this subject? Will I get?" You cannot tell the student, "Oh, you general manager, are you sure get one? Human resource you will get, finance you will get, marketing you will get." Sure, cannot. And before assessment is done, you cannot say, "Sure, you will get one." You can say, "We are at APEL-C center, it goes through a process." That's all. You cannot say you sure get because that is not possible. Because the assessor may assess that person and say, "Hey, you don't get because you don't meet course learning outcome." So number 1, they need to be registered with us. All right, they need to be registered with us. Only can apply for APEL-C. You cannot apply for APEL-C before the candidate is a student. Before you student, you cannot apply. After you student, only you can apply. All right. Now, regardless of mode of entry, the student can join us formally or through APEL. No problem. Student can join us through APEL-A and after that apply for APEL-C. No problem. The students can join us from the formal method. Also no problem. So anyway also can. Okay. APEL-C, prior experiential learning, non-formal and informal for the purpose of credit awards. So MOOCs are also accepted, micro-credentials are also accepted. Anything that the student have done, learned as non-formal and informal is accepted. Okay, now all areas and levels of the MQF, all areas and levels of the MQF. So the MQF, Malaysian's Qualifications Framework, got 8 levels. Okay, 8 levels. 1 certificate all the way to 8, which is PhD. So all can. Limited to only courses conducted by coursework and mixed MERC. All right. Now, however, there is a recent review. I want to add this in recent review that allowed for APEL-C, yes. Sorry. for only coursework and mixed mode. All right, coursework and mixed mode. What I'm trying to say is this: for APEL A, students can apply APEL A to do a PhD, a totally research PhD, no issue. APEL A, research PhD, no problem. But when you want to apply for APEL C, you cannot apply for a totally research PhD APEL C. Now, over in UOW, what we have over here, our PhD is research based, right? All right, cannot apply for APEL C. You cannot say, because research based, the whole PhD is only one subject. You cannot say I apply for that, then I don't need to do my PhD. All right, I don't need to do my PhD. So that is why you cannot. You understand, guys? Now, if it is a DBA, a thought postgraduate, a thought doctorate, you can, because inside there got different subjects. Then one particular one you can apply, no problem. All right, so it's all levels of the MQF. Any questions, guys? This one very important. Any questions? So our MBA, can or not? Can student apply APEL C for MBA? What do you think, guys? MBA. Come on, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, MBA. Our MBA here. How is MBA taught? Is it research or coursework? Yes, can. Very good. Because correct. MBA is coursework. Coursework means credit to make the whole program. So MBA students can apply for APEL. If it is Masters by Research in Engineering, Masters of Science, in UG we got Masters of Science, which is engineering. That is by research. Can or not? By research.
Not.
Cannot. Yes. Siapa tu?
Ting ting.
Ting ting. Type in lah. Suddenly you cannot. I got a shock of my life. All right. Very good. So that is the two difference there. Because by research, one subject. One subject only, you cannot apply APEL C. MBA can, because banyak subject. Okay. Now, HCP intending to apply, approve MQA and apply. Okay, so like for us, we apply for this being an APEL C center, and there is clear policies that we actually do. Now, program approved by ministry and obtain at least PA from MQA. So all our program that we give can do APEL C, because the program is already approved by ministry and we already have provisional accreditation. So all can. Now, credit transfer without grade and not credit exemption. As I said before, it is credit transfer. It is not credit exemption. This terminology, I think all of us need to be very clear. A student that is exempted will need to meet that credit requirement. I am exempted from marketing, 3 credit. That 3 credit, I must substitute with another course. Anything else, maybe an elective or something like that. Credit transfer means I got credit transfer for marketing. That 3 credit is already recognized. I no need to substitute. So when we talk about APEL C, it is credit transfer. Credit transfer. Okay. Now, course that form part of the program structure under professional bodies may be considered under APEL C, subject to acceptance by relevant professional bodies. HEP is responsible for securing such approval. Engineering degree. Engineering degree is under engineering board. Engineering degree is because it is under engineering board, it is subjected to acceptance by relevant professional bodies. School SOE cannot tell the student can straight away until they confirm with engineering board to say that we are an APEL C center. Can the student do or proceed with APEL C with us? Engineering board will say, okay, go ahead. No, cannot go. Very, very straightforward. Understand? Why? Because this is separate. Another discipline will be nursing. Nursing also got their nursing board. So you all need to take cautions. Don't tell student, boleh. Itu nursing board must give green light first. Must give green light. Then only we can do. Okay? Understand? Okay. So there are certain schools, certain discipline that are governed by external professional bodies, you need to get green light over there. Anything homegrown, we decide, because anything homegrown, we already got license. MQA already give us an APEL C center, so we sure can do. All right, definitely. Next. Award of credit through APEL C cannot be transferred automatically to another program. Student get credit transfer through APEL C for marketing in business school. During his study, after that, he said, I don't want to study in business school. I don't want to do my diploma, my bachelor in business. I want to do bachelor in hospitality. It doesn't mean his credit transfer he got for marketing subject automatically go to the marketing in hospitality, the bachelor in hospitality. No, there must be a comparison check whether 80% of the LOs are the same. Marketing in business, marketing in hospitality, if got more than 80% differences not on the similarity, cannot. Must be more than 80%, 80% and above. All right. The name may be marketing, but the content may be different. Okay. Now, award of credit through APEL C equivalent to the credit value of the course applied for. All right. Same like as what we said, like it's credit transfer. Credits awarded for the course is applicable to a specific course applied for. Credits are not automatically applied for prerequisite. Now, this is where APEL C is also quite interesting. Accounting 1, Accounting 2. Student apply for APEL C for Accounting 2. Pass, credit transfer, doesn't mean the student gets automatically credit transfer for Accounting 1, even though Accounting 1 is the prerequisite for Accounting 2. You get it, eh? So if student only apply for Accounting 2 APEL C, pass, they get credit transfer for Accounting 2, they still need to do Accounting 1. It is not the immediate, it is not automatically, no such thing. Okay? Separate assessment for each course, credit cannot be granted on a block basis. You cannot do, we do one assessment to cover Accounting 1 and Accounting 2. Every single subject will be treated independently. Student apply for 3 subjects, subject A, B, and C. All of them must go through 3 separate processes, 3 separate exams, 3 separate interviews, 3 separate portfolios, and so on. 3. Cannot say that we do one very big one, cover all 3. No such thing. There must be 3 separate documents. So even though it is very similar, the candidate still need to produce separate documents for individual courses. Okay, yeah? Now, all courses except project and dissertation. Of course, dissertation and project cannot lah, right? Now, executive diploma, I will not talk about that because we over in UOW Malaysia have stopped our executive diploma already. So I will not talk about that. Okay. Now, implementation process. Now, how do we implement this itself? We need to comply with the garis panduan. That means it is a strict process, needs transparency, equitable, and evidence-based. One key thing about APEL, guys, is everything must be for MSc, we have full accreditation. Oh, very good. Okay. So this is the Masters in Science, the research-based one. All right, good thinking. Oh, that's very good news. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is evidence. Everything need to have evidence. You cannot just take from student to say that, hey, actually, I'm very good in this. Very good, pass. There must be evidence to say that the student is very good. We are going to talk about that. Students who apply for APEL C before registering for the relevant course. Okay, now, you need to register for the course first before you can apply for APEL C. As I told you earlier on, you cannot let the student apply for APEL C, then tell the student you get 30 credits, you get 30 credit for credit transfer, then only the student apply for the course. Tak boleh. Regulations don't allow. All right. APEL C cannot be used as an inducing or marketing factor to bring students in, because when that happens, integrity can be affected. Okay, so the students must be with you, then only they apply. Students need to understand the risk that application is not guaranteed. All right, they may not get, they may not even be, they may be even be told this subject you cannot apply because you don't meet requirements. The final say is still us. Okay. Now, courses awarded for APEL-C appear on transcript as CT APEL. Our transcript, if you see our transcript at the bottom under the legend, there is one CTA. You all see, right? CTA APEL. So that is what it means lah. So that particular subject, you have CTA APEL. Yes. Not taken into account the calculation of CGPA. Okay. Credits counted towards the total credits required for graduation, and MQS as supplementary document. At the end of the day when the students graduate, the students will get a Malaysian qualification statement, an MQS statement. Okay, and that is a supplementary document over there. Okay, an MQS statement is actually a second transcript. Now, let me tell you a little bit of history. 8-9 years ago, Ministry wanted to implement all institutions, when students graduate, they will get this thing called MQS, a second transcript to say about the program and so on and whatnot. Okay. The private institution, I would say all the most of the institutions disagree. So we wrote in, say that no, kita tak nak this and that and so on. So the ministry did not make it compulsory or mandatory for us to give. However, for students who graduate under APEL, must give. So we have to give lah. So far, we have already given 2 because the current candidate just graduate this year. So when the students pass through the Senate, only we will issue that statement. That means totally graduate. Once they graduate, only we will issue. This is a document. It's like a second transcript lah. Students, what is the program, how many credits, the PLO, what is the learning, and this and that, and so on. Okay. Students who fail APEL-C assessment for the course applied for will have to complete the course through the usual process. If a student take APEL, fail, then go through the process. He want to appeal, still fail, have to do the course. All right. So students apply for marketing, fail, then he has to do marketing in the future date. All right. Whenever, depending on whether the timetable and the schedule permits. Okay. Now, we keep the complete record. So higher education provider, which is us, we keep the records lah. Okay. So process, APEL instrument is like this. So fees and charges, nothing is free. Application for each subject or course, RM200. Student apply for 5 courses. It may not be done immediately in one semester. Each semester maybe do 1 or 2. The application for each subject is RM200. Once the student get pass, then credit transfer process is 500. Total 700. It's still cheaper than doing the particular subject. You save time, you save money. So it is still cheaper. And the key element, especially for people who are working, is time. You don't need to do the subject. Okay, so this is the process. Now, when does this take place? When does APEL take place? Is it fixed in a semester? No. I give you an example. Now, it's end of SEM. The new SEM starts next week. Our new schedule starts next week. All right. Today, students can see us. Hey, sir, I'm planning to do APEL. Can I? Can. The whole process can take place. The speaking to student, this and that, whatnot can take place. No issue. Then we register the student next SEM lah. Student will still be registered based on our semester blocks because they are actually doing an assessment. Let's say the student come and see any one of you. Then after that, he goes through the APEL process. He do the assessment. Everything finished in beginning of October. He passed already APEL, beginning of October. No issue. The results will be kept. Then it will be presented at the end of the semester that the students have already attained, blah, 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 and so on. Simple as that. Okay? Then it will be presented in the Senate and so on. So the process is very fluid. Okay? Now, let's say we are talking about the semester the September to January semester. Okay, our final sem that is coming, 4 months. Student apply, say that I want to do APEL in end of October. Can, no problem, because there's no add drop period one. There is no must add drop 2 weeks from the beginning of the week. No, can, no problem. So end of October, we do assessment, we do whatever that is needed, student pass, then it is presented in the school assessment board in that semester. It goes through UCAB, it goes through Sept. So there's no issue. The registration will be done by the APEL center, our site over here. All right, we will register it. So A and B already know about this. So my colleague over here will tell A and B, please register student for APEL. Then it is registered straight away. All right, that is how flexible it is. All right, there is no fixed schedule. However, it doesn't mean student apply. Let's say, remember I talked about the case, this semester one is already end of the sem. Students say, sir, I want to finish my assessment in 1 week, can ah? No such thing. Student cannot dictate when they want to finish their assessment. I want the result to be in this semester, can ah? No such thing. All right. If we already pass the UCAB, which we already did, right? We already did, UCAB. No such thing as just slotting it in and so on. It follows the process. Okay, but when they take the assessment, it's very, very, very flexible. Understand this, guys? So there is a charge to it. There is a charge. Okay. Any questions on the charging? What is the duration of process for a subject, a particular? It depends. Okay, it depends. Simple scenario, student come and see us. Students show interest in the school, come and see us. Straight away, we brief the student. Student do their application, goes through the advisor check. Advisor give the 500-word essay that the student need to do. Then if the student already did fast, but if the student takes 2 weeks, then it's different. If it takes 2 days, the whole process can be 2 to 3 weeks. Seriously, 2 to 3 weeks can run if everything goes through smoothly. And the student, it all depends on the student because there's a lot of work that the student need to do to demonstrate competency. Demonstrate competency. I want to demonstrate to you that I'm good in human resources through a portfolio. Let's say, for example, I need to accumulate, I need to get all of my data so that I can prove to you. So a lot of time wasted based on our experience is on the student. We give them, okay, this is the portfolio, you complete it, send it back to us. All right, student take their time because they need to source. That is where the duration is. Okay, now as we go along to the assessment, you will find that certain assessment can be faster. Okay. Next, so this is the process: pre-application, briefing, advisor, assessment mode. So we will brief. Student will come to APEL center. Now, myself and Hazim, we will brief. After we brief them, we tell them what APEL is. Then we will send them to their advisor. Their advisor, as I will explain later, is actually a person of expertise in the particular school. Normally, it is the ADH or PL or something like that. Then the advisor will speak on the assessment mode with the student. Student, for you, this is the assessment method that you're going to do. Why is assessment mode important? If student is applying for pastry, making cake, subject, the best assessment mode is going to be a practical exam, correct? If student is applying for mathematics subject, the best assessment mode is going to be exam, not practical exam, but exam, real exam. If student is going to apply for a design-based course, then portfolio and interview is going to be the best. So assessment mode varies. It's not fixed. It's not fixed for them to follow what to do to complete the submission, all required. Yes. The guide, very, very simple. Everything is guided by the advisor. Later, we will talk about that. Okay, the advisor plays a critical role, is to advise the student. Okay, now, so once the pre-application is just for us to check whether the student competent ke tak. We talk first. If jalan, then we do the self-assessment, then advisor, then the application process. student will write the self-assessment. The advisor will give a 500-word essay question. Why do you think you are competent, example, to apply for this subject? Then the students will write that I'm applying for human resources because I have been a human resource director for the past 15 years. What I do is this is my evidence and so on. This is not the exam. This is just the self-assessment. Self-assessment. Then advisor will recommend. Boleh ke tak? After the advisor read and say, this fellow human resource director, but the only thing he do is payroll, salary. Cannot. So don't recommend. He tell the candidate, no, not recommended, you take the subject. Understand? If the advisor see, wah, ini orang memang betul baiknya, then formal application. Formal application is where the candidate will start writing the application form. So there is a lot of processes before application takes place. Okay, it is the process itself, then the application will take place. So once the application takes place, then we will do an assessment to the student. Okay, so basically assessment can be two types. It is test, portfolio, and or. It can be and, dengan, atau, or. Okay, so challenge test is written test, oral test, presentation, product assessment, simulations, and so on. Okay, it can be demonstration also. Let's say we are in a music institution. Maybe there is one particular subject is on singing. I don't know. So the test can be the person being able to sing that particular song at the right tone or something like that. So I will sing lah. So that is the test. Portfolio is a journal of your achievement. That is portfolio. For certain courses and subjects, portfolio is the demonstration of a person's competency. Portfolio. If it is design, I have done this design, I have done that, this is what and so on, then it is through portfolio. See, this is the evidence. This is my client telling me I did well and so on. Portfolio. Okay? Test and or portfolio. So the advisor and the assessor will be able to decide which is the best. Which is the best method here is determined by the CLO. The CLO of that subject will tell you what do you want to see from the student, what demonstration you want to see. All right. If the subject is called public speaking, then maybe oral test can be a good one because that is what the CLO requires you to do. If it is financial accounting 1, and the CLO is the demonstration of the ability to balance the books. I'm not a finance person, so don't fault me if I said that wrong. To do an accounting thing, okay? Then a written test is the one. Who decides? Not the APEL Center. No, because I'm not an expert over here. It is the advisor and the assessor who will decide. Okay? APEL it is the advisor and the assessor who will decide. Okay. Any questions on this? Okay. So if it is written test, very easy. You tell the student, Ali, you say you are good in mathematics, huh? You achieve all of this, huh? You know how to do algebra, trigonometry, whatever lah. Okay. Next week, Monday, you come in from 2 to 5. You're going to have a 3-hour test. I'm going to test you on that. So Ali will come and do the test lah, to prove to you that he achieved all the CLO. Simple as that. That is demonstration. Now, the test needs to make sure it meets all the CLO. So if your CLO requires not only mathematics test, but so happen in your particular subject of mathematics got able to do presentation in class, let's say, which is not likely, but let's say that's one of your CLOs. So Ali will need to do the test, and then after that, will need to do a presentation on something so that he demonstrates the CLO of that particular course. When we talk about challenge test, it doesn't mean one. It can be numerous, a few. It doesn't have to be a 2 hours. The last time we did for one of our candidates who was in pastry, the test was 6 hours. 6 jam ah. Pukul 9 sampai pukul 3. No lunchtime some more. Got lunchtime, I think was like 15-20 minutes or half an hour. Why? Because the candidate was okay and the candidate needed to demonstrate a lot of CLOs. And the candidate was working. So the only time the candidate had was that slot. Okay? So that is how it is. That is called challenge test. Questions, guys? So like you already in your discipline, engineering could be more tests lah, demonstration test mah. All right. Let's say computing, maybe test law. All right. Maybe a written test law. If you're talking about things such as like nursing, demonstration, test law. All right. Creative elements like maybe design, then portfolio law. I would think it's more portfolio because it's design. You cannot ask that person to design everything in one go. All right. It is a process of. All right. Yes, assessment portfolio got. Wait. Any mechanism? Okay. So in that case, maybe I'll talk about the mechanism. The mechanism here for portfolio, everything, portfolio and also challenge test falls down to the rubric. So there must be a rubric, a clear rubric. So we have sample rubrics that we have already used. So the rubrics have on a scale of 4. So there are certain conditions. The conditions or the key elements on the left will be the CLOs. What are the key CLOs over there? Then it is graded on a scale to show that whether the student is competent or not. Because the student must achieve minimum 50% of each CLO to pass, which is my next slide actually. See, the next slide. Basic principles of assessment, student learning meet requirements, every CLO must be 50. Example, mathematics, got 4 CLOs. I get my candidate 90 for CLO1, 89 CLO2, 90 CLO3, 49 CLO4. Fail. Even though the average is 82, but because one CLO is 49, which is not pass, 50 is pass, the whole thing, the whole APEL C process fail for that subject. So fail means what? He can appeal, but because if his mathematics is so clear cut, fail means fail lah. All right. And if it's fail, have to take the subject, not retake the subject because he never took in the first place. So the candidate need to take the subject. Take the subject means register, pay money, go for class, attend class, do exam, the whole shebang. Okay, that's right. I'm not saying it's easy. It is not easy. The student need to understand that the process of APEL C is not a get out of jail free card. It is not something that is like, whoa, my degree is going to be easy. I can apply for APEL. It's a bonus. No. It is a stringent process. It is a stringent process itself. Okay. So when you look into the quality aspects, assurance aspects, so our infrastructure, the communication to the students need to be very clear. All right. So assessment instrument, all assessment that are done need to be moderated. It follows the same process as our examination paper. We go through moderation. So if I set mathematics paper, then for example, Dr. Siva is my moderator. He will moderate my paper. It's exactly the same template that we use for our exam. Exactly the same. Moderate, say okay, and so on. Even when I mark the paper, the moderator will also after that moderate my marking. It's exactly the same. Okay, so it is actually a stringent process. And then monitoring and review. Once it is done, it goes through school assessment board, UC assessment board, Senate, and so on. And more so, every quarter, we send a report to MQA. They will check with us. Hazim will write report. Dalam this quarter or this half, 6 months, there were how many candidates, how many of them pass, how many of them fail, how many credits they apply for, and so on. Okay, and we have already gone through a process. We got our APEL C center status before MCO. So during the MCO time, it was a waste. I mean, during that duration was a bit of a hiccup for us lah. Many things couldn't be done. Our center's expiry is next year end. But end of this year, we need to send for renewal already. And the renewal is actually the same process as new application. That is how stringent they are. $15,000 we have to pay. Money is not an issue. It is the whole very, very mafan lah, in other words lah. But MQA does it because they have to make sure of a particular standard of institution. Not all institution, this is what I know, not all institution applied for APEL status. Some institution applied for APEL C, they got review. Review means you need to membaiki this and that. If you don't membaiki, we don't give you license. But for us, because our facilities, when they came and visit and so on, it was good. It is like an FA visit, full accreditation visit. Okay, no issue. Okay, so far lah. Okay. So, process. Flow of learners taking APEL. Start. Learners undertake self-evaluation exercise. Eligible. If not eligible, thank you very much. Not all learners that were sent in their self-assessment exercise will be accepted one. No? Some of them memang tak boleh one. You can work in the kitchen for 10 years, but if you're only peeling potatoes, then you cannot apply for hot kitchen. Okay, you cannot apply for butchery because you may be in the kitchen for 10 years, but you only peel potatoes. Okay, so if they are eligible, learner submits APEL-C application form and fees, assessment, undertakes challenge test or portfolio, if pass, yes, no appeal. If yes, endorse credits notification to learner end. Straightforward, very straightforward one. Very straightforward. But the whole process here got evidence lah. So every student, we have a file. We got evidence on what they actually gone through. Okay. So student registration to registration APEL. So it is basically, this is in words what we explained over here lah. Okay. So any questions now so far, guys? Any questions? I can quite assure you there are going to be more people inquiring about this APEL thing because recently we've been getting a lot of inquiries. However, I just put additional information here. 90% of the inquiries I get is for APEL A. So we always channel. So after talking to them, sir, do I apply for APEL A or APEL C? Then when I inquire more, a lot of them is APEL A because they don't have entry requirements. So then we channel them to the right channel. Okay. Then we channel them to the right channel. So then we tell them later, we get your contact. You can come back to us after you got your APEL A. The most recent case was actually my ex-classmate. He is a steward flying for MAS, a senior steward. He only has his diploma. So earlier on, he wanted to do his degree. So I was advising him, why don't you do APEL? No, I had a sit down with him, why don't you do APEL? Explain to him. And he went through the process. And last week, he was jumping for joy. Gabe, I got it. I got my APEL. I can do my master's now already. I said, very good. You see, so that is it. Many people, sometimes they do not know. So sometimes when we advise them on the pros and cons for their career and so on, so we become career counselors to a certain extent. So that is how it is. Okay, so what are the roles? Roles. Okay, so we have the learner. The term learner is the person who is applying for credit transfer based on prior experiential learning. It's our student, that's called the learner. Then we have the advisor, KDU appointed staff, subject expert, who will provide general advice to the learner with the respect of APEL-C process and timeline involved as per the flowchart. The advisor is very, very critical. This individual from the school will be the one who advises the student. He look at the student. Okay, you want to apply for APEL? Good. The advisor will advise about the course itself. We, APEL Center, will advise on the process. So, student, you need to do this, you need to do that. You got pay money and so on. That's all. Because the course related, the subject related, the advisor will speak. So the advisor will advise, Ali, you really want to apply for human resources. I know you've been working there, but you've been working for the same thing. 15 years, you're doing the same thing. I suggest you don't. Or you can clearly say you will not meet. After looking at your CV and so on, you will not meet. That is where the advisor comes in. Very important. Okay. So like the last time, we had certain ADHs from different schools. to be advisors. Zaki was an advisor. Chef Kenneth was an advisor for their candidates in their particular school itself. Okay. Now, assessor. Assessor macam examiner lah. So this is we appointed staff, subject expert, who will set the assessment and mark the learner's work. This person set the assessment and mark the person's work. So the advisor and the assessor will actually work together to come up with the best assessment method for the student. Okay. So after looking at the student, for us to evaluate the CLO achievement, maybe it is one exam, 2 hours, and the student need to do a portfolio and interview. That is what you all decided. Okay, no problem. So that is how it is. So the assessor will come up with the exam paper. Okay. Now the assessor will, that's what they do. Then we have this thing called a moderator. Moderator, you know lah. So it's exactly the same, second marker. Okay. So if it is a portfolio, when the student gives portfolio, the assessor will evaluate. Then the moderator will also evaluate to see that, to check whether the assessor, what they give is true. Every portfolio must come with a interview. So you must interview the student after reading the portfolio. So the assessor will ask question to the candidate, to the learner, to ascertain that the learner has achieved the learning outcome. All the question. Then the moderator will sit there to listen, can ask question also. But the primary person to ask the question will be the assessor. So the moderator will sit there and say, betul, itu learner really understands, really good. Then when the learner leaves already, the assessor and moderator will then discuss. So the learner has demonstrated capability and ability in this, and so on and so on. Then the moderator may say, yes, however, I feel that in this year, the learner did not really demonstrate certain things and so on, or not say did not, unable to demonstrate. So that is where the moderator and the assessor will evaluate. We'll do it together. It is the same as when you do students, our class presentation. We have 2 markers, so once one lecturer, the lecturer mark, and then we have a second marker or another individual to also mark the presentation. After that, you compare lah. Wow, Ali was a very good speaker. Then you compare. Oh, good lah, but maybe not 80%. I give 74%. Like that lah. So this is what it is. All need evidence. Everything is in forms, evidence, and so on. Okay. So advisor school is a minimum passing mark 50. Everything 50. One subject got 4 CLO, 50, 50, 50, 50. A student with 50, 50, 50, 50 will pass. A student with 100, 100, 149 will fail. That is APEL lah. Okay. 50, 50, 50 pass. 100, 100, 149 fail. Okay. Because CLO if you don't achieve your course learning outcome, you don't get credit transfer. I believe for engineering school, you all are very familiar to this because engineering board is also very, very similar in the way that they see achievement of courses. So the advisor is a subject expert, respect to the processes and timeline involved. The advisor will guide the learner on self-assessment, exercise evaluation, and advise learner to submit the 500-word report. So the student will need to write a 500-word report on why they are applying for this subject. Okay, so the question will be given by the advisor. Okay, but normally advisor will work with the assessor kind of thing lah. Okay, for the self-assessment, okay, the advisor will determine the learner's eligibility to apply for APEL C. Advisor will determine the eligibility. So we'll say that whether can or cannot. The advisor believes, if the advisor believes that the applicant is unlikely to succeed, the learner will be informed accordingly and the application process is terminated. Stop. Okay. Otherwise, the learner will be informed that the application can proceed the next stage, which involves either the challenge test and or submission of the portfolio. Okay. So that is what the advisor does. Okay. Next, assessor. Assessor is a subject expert in the subject. So this, which the learner is applying for credits, the main role of the assessor is to design and create the appropriate assessment. Examiner lah, come out with the question itself. All right. So the assessor will also mark the learner's answer for challenge test questions or evidence submitted in portfolio format and judge to what extent the learner's response has demonstrated that the learner has achieved each of the course learning outcome. See, I may give you a portfolio, but during the interview, the assessor will evaluate. you betul faham ke tak? You really know how to do this or not? So they will determine, they will be the one who will evaluate the learner's achievement in a particular CLO. At achieving at least 50% of each course learning outcome is the minimum standard required. The assessor needs to provide learner with criteria for assessment decision, opportunity to discuss assessment results, and appeal opportunities, if need be lah. So the assessor will also tell the learner, okay, your test, this is going to be your test. It's going to be a 3-hour test. Sit down. You will have an interview after that, and so on and whatnot. So the assessor and the advisor will be the one directly communicating with the learner. Then we have the moderator. Moderator's role is that of a second marker who is a subject expert. So this one, very straightforward lah. So we all also have second marker. That is what the moderator does lah. He is the second marker. The process exactly the same as how you do in the exam, our normal process itself. Okay. Now the process is so stringent that every time there is a interview, portfolio submission, and also a test, exam department is involved. So exam department will go to the venue, put up boards. This is an exam venue and so on. Kin will do exactly as how she does in a normal exam. Exactly the same. Also, exam department individuals or representative will be in the room to make sure everything is done properly. So let's say we are doing an interview. So it is myself as a candidate, then I have Siva as the assessor, Ting Ting as the moderator. So it's a table. I sit here, they sit facing me, they ask me question. Then Teaching and Learning Center, I mean not teachers, APEL C Center, Hazim administrator will go in to make sure everything is proper. He will come out. Exam department will then go inside, and normally Kin, normally it's her, she will sit in for the whole process. She will sit in just to be the person to ensure the exam department is there and it is done properly. Who knows, the candidate may be your best friend. Okay, okay, so that is why it is important. Understand, guys? So it is exactly like an exam, exactly the same. No corner cutting one. Everything is done in the proper manner. Okay, so then after that, we will talk about award of credits. As what we said earlier on, is credit awarded and it's a maximum of 30%. Okay, this is actually a bit of a summary of what I spoke earlier on. Okay, any questions so far, guys? You can, if you have any questions, you can write it down, or you can, okay, if the student feel any chance, yes, appeal. Stella, it is called appeal. Student will appeal. There is no receipt, there is no retake. No receipt or no retake. Okay, so I do test. After do already, I fail. Then she goes through an appeal. Sir, can you remark? But very simple. We can just show, see, you already fail less than 49, less than 50. That's it. They can. But historically, based on other institution, nobody appeals because it's so clear cut and the communication between assessor and student is so clear that the chances of appealing is very low. Student, if they cannot do, really cannot do. And if it is a portfolio submission, we would have already checked that the student is competent for them to proceed. Okay, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It could lah. The students could fail lah. Yeah. Okay. Questions? So even every assessor and moderator that it is appointed by the school needs to go through my session today. So like today, all 17 of you, 16 of you actually, your name list will be Hazim will keep. So next time when the school appoints moderators or assessors and advisors, it needs to be people who have gone through my session. So there must be a briefing. If there is none, then we will, technically that person cannot be lah, but we will do special case for them lah. We will do. So like all of you now, you guys can be assessors, moderators, and advisors already. Okay. By the way, who issued MQS? MQS, the statement, the template, the advisor will fill up the blanks, The information inside there is a simple information only. All right, we will come up with template. The template is fixed. We will send the school will fill it up, then pass to us. We will get Shankar to sign. Now, the reason why Shankar signs is it must be signed by the registrar. It is signed by the registrar only. Now, the information, let me tell you about the MQS. Nothing that requires you to be imaginative to write. Nothing. It is about what are the PLOs, what is the duration, what is the name of the program, what is the entry requirements, and this and that. Very, 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 very things which can be taken from your own document one. Any other questions, guys? As you think of your questions, just to tell you all, there is a introductory to Burmese language at 10:30 today in UG campus in room 311. So for those of you who are on UG campus, you can actually join. It is very interesting. It is done by our very own Kin. So Kin will start, I think, maybe around 10:40, 10:35, he will start. So go and join. Something very unique, Burmese language. Short session, only 2 hours. Anything else? Okay. All right. So keep records. Evidence is key. One key element about APEL is evidence. So nothing, we cannot take word of mouth by the candidate. If candidates say, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that, it means nothing. You must show bukti. Prove to me that you can do it. Prove to me. Prove to me. So the evidence part can come in many different ways. Portfolio, test, and whatever. But all those evidence must keep. Must keep. Okay. So like example, in many of the students, sometimes they have this general impression that they know because they are in this line, they know all of these things. But when they go into detail, when they see the CLOs, then they start to think, actually, I do not know much about this, So that is why it is important for the advisor to speak to the student, speak to the learner, and to explain to them, yes, you have done it, but these are the key 4 things, are the learning outcomes that you need to demonstrate that you have achieved. So that is where it differs. Okay. All right, guys. If there are no other questions, yes, feel free to come over, to chat with me, to send me a mail or anytime if you have any questions regarding this APEL itself. The reason is, as I said, I foresee there will be much more inquiries and there is going to be a larger requests for more explanation in regards to what APEL is. Always remember, we are not an APEL A center, we are an APEL C center. However, we are in partnership with the National Defense University, and they are an APEL A center, all right? And basically, when I have candidates to inquire, I will say, hey, you can speak with our partner, okay? Now, if they want, we can give the contact. Tell your candidate to come and check with Hazim. Hazim has the contact with UNPM individuals, our partners individuals, and then they can take it from there. All right. They are a very good institution and they do their APEL A well. Actually, we are an older APEL C center than them. They are A and C, but the C they just started. They were an APEL A first. Okay. So this is good, especially for postgraduate lah. Postgraduate. Sharing session on APEL A. Actually, I did a general APEL briefing session that I spoke much more on APEL A. That was 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. So it was already done. However, there should be another one. I'll try to slot one in, Siva, maybe in the final quarter. It's really at the final quarter, maybe a few months down the road, a few weeks or a few months down the road, I will do something. But anytime, Siva, that you want to have a chat, drop by. You are only 33 steps from my office. We can always talk. Okay, no problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if are there any questions? I'm just going round. Okay, no. If there are no questions, or you are clear, I hope you are clear. You're fine. Good. Okay. Then if it is, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Have a very good day, and I will see you. Okay. Bye.